Thanks so much for your purchase of our chiller. In today's video, we will show you how to connect the chiller to either the barrel, our Pro, or our original pod. All right, let's get started. First, connect the pump to the side of the Ice Bath Pro or barrel and lock it in by turning the pump hose to the right. Pump air into your ice bath until it feels firm and sturdy. We recommend a touch test rather than relying on the PSI reader on the pump. Now that your ice bath is pumped, let's add the valves to the inlet and outlet. Note, all your valves will come either pre-taped with plumber's tape or with a silicone ring attachment. This will reduce any risk of leaking on any of the connection points. Now screw in the valves in both the inlet and outlet. This will be the same for the Pro and the barrel. The original pod has valves connected to the tub and will not need this valve. Please note our newer tubs now come with a drain hole. You can find the drain plug for your drain hole in the orange cylinder container. Next, let's add the drain tap and the small filter.
Note that the arrow on the small filter should be pointing away from the tub.
Now let's add the pump. The pump should be facing towards and not sideways as shown here. Ensure this is also firmly tightened. Next, we add the large filter. It is important to make sure that the plastic wrap from the filter has been removed before use. The large filter has been designed for the Pro and barrel. This will be the only difference in setup for pod users. Now it's time to connect the hoses. Ensure both hoses are firmly connected to the valves. Make sure the third valve is either connected to the hose end or the large filter end. In this case, it's connected to the hose end. That's the complicated stuff behind us. Now let's get the ice bath into position. It's time to connect the hoses to the chiller. Make sure the two white washers are in place before you connect the hose. The hose should screw on nice and firmly. Our final step is to add the power adapter to the water pump and the power adapter to the chiller. Before we turn on the water pump and the chiller, let's begin filling up the tub. For the first setup, we suggest to fill the water to the minimum line. This will ensure that everything is tested before the tub is filled up to the desired level. Make sure the drain tap is turned vertically to allow for water flow. We can now turn on the chiller and the pump at the electrical points. If everything has worked to plan, we will see a strong water flow coming through the inlet hole. If you do find your water flow is weak or there are leaks, skip forward in this video to our FAQ section. Now it is time to fill up your tub. For optimal performance, please fill the water just below the circular stitching seen here. Now, set your chiller to your desired temperature. And that's it. It can take anywhere from 8 to 16 hours to reach your desired temperature. Happy plunging! Here are some helpful tips if you find any water leaks. If you find a water leak at the pump connection point, it will be because the pre-installed washer has fallen out. Just add the black washer from the spare parts kit into the hose connector. Secondly, ensure all 4 clamps have been tightened on installation. Make sure the white washer was added to the hose connection point on the chiller. Finally, for any other small leaks, ensure all connection points have been firmly tightened. Your spare parts kit will also include plumber's tape, so just add a little more tape if small leaks appear on any connection points. If both your chiller and water pump are on, but you aren't seeing any water flow, it's likely because there is air jammed in the pipes. What you need to do is slightly twist open the hose, you'll release some water and more importantly the air, you'll tighten up the hose, and that will result in water being flowing back into the tub. Another reason why you might have a weak water flow is because your small filter, your large filter has become too dirty. Ensure that your small filter is being washed every week. It can get a little grimy because it is picking up all of the extra debris. Make sure your small filter is being washed weekly. So the chiller has pretty simple functionality. It has an on and off button, which works when you hold on for 2 seconds, and it'll turn back on when you hold it back on for 2 seconds. It also has an up and down arrow that you use to set the temperature. You will notice the wrench icon turn on when you are setting the temperature. When you're done setting the temperature, the wrench icon will turn off. The circular icon will turn on when the water chiller is operational and is chilling the water. If neither light is on, that means the water chiller has moved into standby mode and that it's already at its desired temperature. The chiller will turn back on once it is outside the set temperature, and you will see the circular light turn back on.